Welcome to the Celtic Craft Studio. I'm Terry, and today we are going to work on several things. Actually, I'm trying to restock the stash, so I'm working on several little ephemera items, and so we're going to go over one of them, and we're going to start the little ephemera books that we talked about last week. But first of all, I want to show you the frames. And I'm sure I'm not done because they're very addictive once you get started. But let me show you what I have finished. This is one that we saw in the beginning, and remember, it's just a little frame with a piece of paper that's hinged around so it makes a little book. And inside you have a place to write, and you have some ephemera. And you can fill it with ephemera. I just chose to have a place where you could journal. All right, so that's the one I showed you last week. And then we did this one, I think, on camera. Once again, a place to write and some ephemera. And I put a little whale's tail on it with an eyelet that you can either hang something from or not. And I love these pictures. These are Tim Holtz pictures, but you can use, any pictures that you have. I know that there are several Etsy shops where you can download pictures. Like I mentioned last week, I actually collect pictures when I go to antique shops, and you can use those in your crafts. And then I discovered last week we did this with the transparency, and I'm trying not to glare too much, but it's hard when you've got these transparencies. And so I thought, oh, I'm going to use more transparency. So here's the transparency that I used in this one. And I backed it with straw paper so you could see the flowers. There's the backing paper, and inside we have the straw paper. And then I used a slide. I don't know if you can see the slide. I used the slide for a pocket. And inside the slide, I put a bird and some foliage. And here's a little tip. That bird came from a bird book that I found at the Goodwill. And instead of buying Tim Holtz birds or getting birds off of Etsy, if you're at a Goodwill shop and you see a bird book, buy it and cut the birds out, and then you have your own bird ephemera. So there's a little tip for today. Then we have some things tucked in here. I use the little collage strips all the time for ephemera. And we have some little cards and a ticket tucked behind the slide. Okay, so there's my little books. Let's put those out of the way. And then here's the medium books. Each one has kind of a different inside to them. As you'll recall, this one I showed you last week has a little book inside that you take out. And it has a little place to journal. So that's where you would journal in this one. And on the other side, I put a pocket and some ephemera. And it's kind of bulky, so I did put a clip on it, which you can put a dangle from or not. All right, and then this is the other one I was working on that you didn't see. And so I made another, here's a pocket with the ephemera, and then I made another little book with my friends, besties. I guess they're besties. Don't they look like besties to you? Okay, and then you open it up, and there's the little pages to write on. Once again, I used the envelope. I tucked it in, because if you don't, it sticks out. And I could make the book without a tab, and then you could put the flap over, but I decided to use a tab, and so I tucked the envelope flap in. So it's up to you. I mean, it's however you want to make your books. So there's that one. And then we have 3 large books where, if you recall, I used the slot cards is what I'm calling them. That might not be what they are, but that's what I call them. And this is the one I had made. And there's the slot card that I slid things in. And then I decided, instead of using a picture, I would use transparencies. This is probably one of my favorite transparencies. And I was going to leave it open so you could see the back here, but I thought, I think we'll put some straw paper. 1, you can journal on the straw paper, and 2, it kind of accents everything that's on the transparency. So I like that. So I decided to do another transparency. Let's put this up here, get everything out of the way. I did this violet, or are they? Yeah, I think they're violets or violas or something like that. And I put it in here, accented the purple with the purple. I love purples and greens. And inside, I used a large slide that I decorated with paper, a little girl, a butterfly, and then I made it like a pocket, and I tucked in some ephemera. And then you have your writing space over here. So there you have it. There's our frame ephemera, and I hope you've been making it this week. I'd love to see what you've done. If you've made it, I'd love to see. Today we are going to make these I don't know what to call them. When, I start making these things and then I realize I got to come up with a name and I don't know what to call them. I guess we will call them tag tabs. How about that? Tag tabs. And once again, it came from using scraps. Let's see, how can I use my scraps? So what I did was I took a piece of scrap paper that I had from my scrap box. It needs to be, it could be a little, you got some room to play. You can make your tags shorter. You're not going to get as much on them. But my tags are 6 inches by 1.5. Okay. So I cut out the strips, and I usually use very neutral paper because I don't want it to distract from what I'm going to put on them. And then I fold it in half. Okay. Make a nice crisp fold. We'll fold 2 of these. Never hurts to have too many. If you're going to make 1, you might as well make 10. That's my motto. Okay, so you've got it folded. Now you need to think about this. You need to make sure you're going to clip the right end, okay? Because you want a little opening that you're going to slide over the page. Here, let me show you. I'll get you my latest journal. Reach over here. I'm not going to put these in here, but this is my latest journal that I'm working on. And inside, let's find a kind of blank page. Here, we'll use this. We'll use this page. And I need one that's going the right direction, which would be this one. Okay. I make them go in both directions, but you could slip it over a page. So what you have when you close the journal is you have a little tab, which you can hang something from, okay? And then you've got, when you open it, you have these little people, okay? So we're calling it, now see, I already forgot what we were calling it, a tag tab. Tag tab. It's kind of a mouthful. But so that's how you would use it. So when you put that back, when you clip the corners to make it look like a tag, because we want it to look like a tag, you need to make sure you clip the folded end. Okay? So here we are. There's the open end. Here's the folded end. And I'm going to do the medium corner. I don't want it too big or too little. Okay. So we got those clipped. Just knocked something on the floor, but I don't know what yet. All right, so there's my tag tabs that I have folded and clipped. Once again, oh, I lost my people. Hang on. So I will need the people. The people are a necessity. Okay, to ink or not to ink, I am going to ink. I see a lot of white edge here, and I don't want to see the white edge. Okay. So I'm going to ink all the way around, and sometimes you want to turn it over and do it too, because sometimes you don't get all of it when you're just doing one. So all right. Like I said, once again, great way to use up your scraps. And it doesn't have to be Tim Holtz paper. It can be any scrapbook paper. I mean, you're obviously not going to see the inside, so it doesn't need to be double-sided. It could be plain in the middle. So if you have scrapbook paper to use up. All right, now let me get my eyelets and my crocodile. Okay. And then I'm going to kind of, well, here, let me move it. Somehow it got moved back. I must have been doing something that required. Let's see where I want it. No, it's still too. All right, that works. Gives me an idea. And then I just kind of eyeball it. I'm going to pull it back. Sorry, guys. I know I'm out of camera. And you know what? I just did a boo-boo. I did a boo-boo. After all that telling you, do the folded in, I did a boo-boo. So, you know what? We're going to punt. Love it when we punt. And this one is going to be shorter. There you go, guys. When you make a mistake, you just punt. All right, so he's going to be shorter. He's probably going to have some, maybe I'll put mushrooms on him. All right, make sure you do, do as I say, not as I do. Make sure you put the hole at the right end. Okay, we got it centered. That one's shorter, and we all know why, because Terry screwed up. It's nice to know crafters are human, isn't it? Okay, so there we have our holes. Let me get some eyelets. I think I'm going to use some of kind of the antique gold ones. I'm going to have to go get some more, I see. I'm short of, I don't have too many more black ones. That's okay, we'll use the antique gold. I think they kind of go with this. I need 3 of them, so let's put that there. Put those back. And we're going to put these in here. And you know how it works. In there, push firmly. Firmly, but not too firmly. You want it folded under just like that. But you don't want to bend them. If you do it too hard, you can bend the eyelet and then it doesn't look so good. You learn. After you've done it enough times, you know just what kind of pressure you need. Okay. Last but not least, our little shorty. Obviously, we'll just put one person on here. And then I use, to decorate these, I use little people. And some like little people, some don't. And remember, I want them going both ways. So I'm going to have one going this way and one going that way. Because you'll want to put them on both sides of your journal. You might want to put them on the right. You might want to put them on the left. So I want the option of having them go both ways. All right. So I picked some. Here's some of my examples. And you will see, I started out just putting the little people on, however they were. And the children, you know, kind of fit. They still go over, and you need to be careful if their little heads and feet go over. You don't want to bend them. But I discovered it's okay to cut little people. It's okay. I give you permission. It's okay to cut them in half, or, you know, whatever it takes to have them fit on there. And I found that that works better. So what I did is I found, there's my tags with my little people. Let me get, I think I'm going to do these bluish ones. I'll do the others too, but let's do these 4. Okay. And once again, I want them going both ways. Okay, like that. And I picked 4 couples. Well, no, these aren't. Well, this is a couple. A couple is in 2 people. How about that? All right, I think I'm putting them over here. All right, and then I have a lady, some ladies, and some children. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and glue these guys on, and then cut them off. All right, so how you doing today? I'll tell you, it's smoky here, and it's bothering my eyes, my nose. I know that most of the mountain states are dealing with the smoke. And as I mentioned last week, I'm ready for fall. All right, I probably put too much glue on there, but that's okay. Let's make sure they're kind of straight. Once again, I like to line them up with the lines to kind of make sure they're straight. Let's get the excess so I'm not getting my mat dirty. Once again, to ink or not to ink, these guys are small enough that I don't think I want to ink because I don't want to, you know, get their faces or something and make them look silly. So I'm not going to ink these. You know, you don't have to ink everything. And you learned that. You know, when I first started out, when I first started watching Gail, hi Gail, I you know, thought I had to ink everything. I thought I had to, you know, there were certain rules in my head that I thought I had to do every time. You know, as you get going, you make your own rules and you find out what works for you and what you like and what you don't like. And as Tip says, you do you. So this is your time to shine, your time to craft. So you do you. Break the rules. As long as you're not hurting anyone, it's okay to break the rules. All right, one more, and then we will cut them. We'll cut them off so that they fit better. We don't have them dangling off. Now I saw some cute, let me cut them off and then I'll say this. Somebody created, I think it was one of the Tim Holtz makes. And they actually cut the characters in two. Where's my scissors? Okay, so we're going to cut this in two. They cut them in two, and then they created something that went in the middle, and they had the top of the people and the bottom of the people. So, you know, you could actually keep the bottoms and just have their legs showing underneath something. So I am keeping the bottom because you never know when that might come in handy for some cute little piece of ephemera. Okay, you know, that one did not get, I don't think I'm keeping that because that's not enough to be cute. All right, so these didn't get inked. Let's ink it real quick. I love this one that looks like peeled paint. I believe that's a backdrop. I believe it's a Tim Holtz backdrop. All right, let's cut this one. Keep the bottom half for something fun. Let's get our lid before we drool everywhere. All right, and now you can decorate these any way you want. You can use flowers or mushrooms or butterflies. But I used the little like pharmacy labels. Where are my pharmacy labels? Right here. I used little pharmacy labels and I used, let's just put some out. Let's make a mess. I do much better when it's, you know, kind of laid out here and I can see things. And then I had these on some of them. So these I don't think I'm going to dump out because I don't want to get them all mixed up. All right, so let's pick some. I need my tweezers. These are little enough that, oh, that's part of that. Oh, wow. Okay. So I think I'm going to put him there. And I am going to use the rule of threes. Now I did tuck them under, so it's kind of up to you whether you want to put them on or, once again, don't go clear to the edge and you can tuck them under, okay? There's room to tuck something under her. Let's see what we have. Do you have any round ones? I like the round ones. Remember, I like those round ones. That's a little big, but do we have a red one? Red would be kind of cool with the round. Okay, got room to stick that there. And I am going to ink these. Like I say, a lot of times it's just to get rid of the... Ugh, come on, go under there. Or not. I may have to bend a little to get him under there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm doing that. Is there any other? Oh, it's smaller. I think I want to stick with this size and put him behind here. Oh yeah, I think so. See, this is the time where you kind of putz. You putz around until you figure out how you want it. Some people like watching that, and I don't know if you're one of those. You need to let me know. You need to say, Terry, I don't really want to watch you putzing around. Or, hey, I like that. And I could be like Rachel and just say, you know, this is the way I'm going to do it, and if you don't like it, move on. Love Rachel. Love Rachel. Okay. Yeah. And before that dries, let's get the red one down because I want to tuck it underneath. Let's tuck it underneath. Whoop. There are lines on here, so it makes it easy to kind of get things straight. Make sure you didn't blob too much. Right. And we have room down here for, see, and I already noticed that I have stuff in here, don't I? Do I have, oh, there's one with red on it. Get my, kind of mimic the red here. And I see that it's a little long, but you know what? You can cut that down. And I'm going to cut that little part off right there. And I am going to do the staple thing, but I realized I may be running out of staples, and I don't have any more staples. I have to order staples. So hopefully I have a staple for this. And remember, I don't staple through it. I mean, in the appropriate situations you can, but this one I don't want to staple through. So, and you know, I think I want it a little more grungy. Okay. And I am going to put that right over them. Okay, let's put the lid back on. I don't want a blobbity blob. And I'm going to put that right there. Like I say, you could hook these in a journal. You can hook these on other pieces of ephemera. Now I can't get it open. It does open, I promise. Got a little gluey there. Okay. Let's find, do I have a, oh, this is good. We'll use this. We'll use this piece right here to kind of put them on. And once again, You could dangle something from it, or just keep it like it is. And when you close the page, you got a nice little tab, and when you open it, you have a surprise. Okay, so there's that. Let's just do the one on the other side. These I can finish off camera. So what shall we put on there? I like the, the pops of colors, since they are black and white and it is so muted. Here's a green. Here's a green. Let's see if I can get that green under there. Yeah. Hang on. Hold your breath, because I'm hoping I don't. There we go. Hoping I don't mess that up. I've already made one faux pas on camera. We don't want to make another. Yeah, that's nice behind her head, but it's a little big. So do I have a smaller green? There's a smaller green, and it's not so in your face. And I see something round and yellow. Oh, it's actually oval and yellow. Nice. I like that. Okay. So let's go ahead and ink. I don't know about you, but this is one of those things, I could sit here and do this for hours. Put on a Gale video and just do this for hours. She's working out of her garage today. But I'm sure most of us have learned you can make journals most anywhere. All right, now, question is, do I want that over or under? I probably want that under. Yeah. But let's ink. Love these little bits. When you're making pieces of ephemera and you just need a little something, these little pieces are nice. Little snippets. Oh, I'm already at 30 minutes. Oh, how time flies when you're having fun. So, where'd that little thing go that was a package number? I do not see it. And do I want... I don't know. Oh, here. What's this? What is this? What is this? Yeah, I think I am. And please, one more staple, one more staple. Oh, yeah. All right, and let's ink. Once again, I don't want it to look too pristine, because everything on here looks antique-y. All right, so I blobbed a little and I want to get that off. Terry's a little particular. You do not have to be as particular as I am. All right, I'm going to put that there. All right. And I wanted to get this one done because I want to show you this one goes on the other side of the page. See? Like that. So there you go. got one on that side of the page and one on this side of the page. And once again, you don't have to put people on them. You can put flowers on them. You could do mushrooms. This was just a way I thought of to use my little people. All right. So there we go. We have our tag tab flaps. All because I was looking at my scraps thinking, what can I do with these strips and these little people? So there you go. Now, the other thing I want to do, I want to get this started so that you can prepare these. We're going to make the little book. Okay? We're going to make this little book. So you need 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. Okay? So I picked 4 of the squares that I believe they're 3 by 3, but let's measure. And these were, I don't think they're in the garden pack anymore. Hang on. Let me see. No. No, they're not. They aren't in here anymore. This is my favorite Tim Holtz paper set. It's called Wallflower, and I love it. And I was heartbroken when they stopped doing it, but then they had the re-release, and they had it. I got it. Because you will notice I use Wallflower things in lots of things. My journals, ephemera, all kinds of things. And on the original 12 by 12 paper pads, they had these 3-inch squares on one of the 12 by 12 papers. And so I thought, what am I going to do with those? And I came up with this journal. So what you need to do is pick out 4 that you like. And on the front one, you need to make a circle. Okay? Now, I do not have a plain circle punch. I have a scalloped circle punch, which would work, but I wanted just a plain circle. So what I did is I created a template based on this one. And if you'll notice on this one, I made it a little lower than I liked. I don't remember if that was a happy accident or if that was deliberate, but I decided that I wanted my circle to be a little higher up. So I used that as a template, drew the circle, and then I used that to draw other circles. Now, if you have die cut that is a circle, that would be perfect, but I wanted to show you you do not need a die cut. So I drew the circle, I found the center, drew the circle, and then I cut it out like we've shown before. You know, when you have like a window, you want to create a little cross because you want to break it up into sections. Okay. And then go around it. Make sure you have good light because I'm having trouble seeing my pencil just a little. Then you want to start around. Take one of the sections, start around, follow that line slowly. You know, you probably want to use a smaller pair of scissors, but these are my sharpest pair of scissors, and so I just found these work better. But a smaller pair would do a better job, because you could go around with no problem. All right. You're basically, and you don't have to do this, and you know, I thought if you have these, you could use that for the front of your book. Yep. So, once again, all kinds of options. All right, and then I kind of look to see if I need, yep, there's a little place here I need to kind of take care of. It's a little wonky. So let's take a little bit off right there. All right, good. Good, I'm going to call that good. We are not going for the perfect circle. And you'll see I used Tim on this one. All right, and I picked, this is from the Wildflower. There were several packs that had the 3x3. And once again, doesn't have to be Tim Holtz paper. It could be any scrapbook paper. It probably should be double-sided because we are going to decorate both sides. So it would be nice if it was double-sided paper and cut it into 3x3 squares. But there he is. That's the cover. That's going to be the cover because we're going to see things on the inside. And then I picked 4 pages. All right. So that's your homework for next week. And next week I will show you how we fasten them together. So we've made a little ephemera and I've given you a little homework. So hopefully you will have plenty to keep you busy this week. I'm sure all of you have. Believe me, my problem is finding enough time to craft. Because we're all busy, aren't we? Taking care of families, taking care of grandkids. All right. So there we go. There's our ephemera for today. I hope you have fun. I hope you'll check it out. Show me what you've done. I have had so many wonderful comments. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all those. Like Gail, I'm going to give you all a hug. I like the Gail hugs. And I really appreciate all of you and your encouragement. So until the next time, let's get crafty.